No more rabbits in my garden. Hello everyone, and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. One of the things that I've been talking about a lot lately is that pesky rabbit. And I got a plan to keep that rabbit out of my garden. Over the years, I have had many different types of pests, mostly squirrels and chipmunks in my garden, and I've found a pretty good method to deal with them. But this year, for the first time ever, I'm dealing with a rabbit. I can't tell you the last time I had a rabbit in my garden, and this rabbit has demolished, and I do mean demolished, all of my beans for the year. And so all of my bush beans are gone. Every last one of them are gone. Here's a picture of a bed where they've wiped the bed out completely. I'll show you another bed here in just a moment. And the rabbit has a taste for broccoli. And so completely wiped out three beds of broccoli in my garden this year. So that's at least half of the supply of what I planted this year. And so I have a plan. It's too late for broccoli. I'm done. I got to wait till the fall to come back and get some broccoli. But for the beans, the bush beans, the pole beans, I still got time. Today is June, what is today? June 10th? What is today? Today is June 9th, so we still have plenty of time to get bush beans as well as pole beans if I hurry up, get them in the ground and get them germinated and kicked off. And so I have a plan, and I'm going to share with you what the plan is. Before I share the plan though, let me show you a few more pictures of just how this rabbit has just taken all of my beans. Let me show you that first. This bed right here had broccoli in that whole back row back there. It was all broccoli, and now I have transplanted some other things in there, and then I have the stalk, which is the remnants of the one piece of broccoli that they left. In this bed right next to it, same thing. That whole back row back there, that was all broccoli, and I might get something off of that one, but I seriously doubt it. But everything else in that bed is gone. And just beside it here, that whole front section right there, that was all beans. And they've eaten it down to the ground, and there's nothing left. And what I think they do is let it grow back just a little bit, and they come back and eat it down again. And then right next to it, I had 4 broccolis right there. Now, the rabbit hasn't touched anything else in the garden. Not the cabbage, not the cauliflower, not the tomatoes, not even the lettuce. And I have a ton of lettuce in the garden, and it hasn't touched any of that. Just broccoli and beans. Now, it also took some of my southern beans or shelling, drying beans. Let me show you that bed. This bed used to be full of crowder peas or shelling beans. And I mean, there's nothing left. I mean, they got rid of the seed, the stems, the little seedlings, everything's gone in this bed. So I have a plan, and this plan involves some fencing. So over the last, I don't know, about 3 days or so, I've been researching many different types of fencing that you can use in your gardening. And a lot of people ask me, how do I keep the critters out? Well, didn't have to really worry about anything but squirrels, and I would just trap and release the squirrels about 5 miles from here. But for the rabbit, there's a rabbit, and the rabbit had at least 1 baby that I know of, but I'm sure there's more than one, right? Have you ever known a rabbit to have 1 baby? But that rabbit is only interested in a couple of things. So as I think about the different type of fencing I need, how high it needs to be, how sturdy it needs to be, I came up with 2 solutions. So let me share the first solution with you. The first solution involves this type, and I know this is going to be very hard to see, but this type of fencing right here. And here's a picture from Amazon of this particular type of fencing. And since this is already in my metal raised bed is 11 inches off the ground, plus this adding another, I don't know, is that 10 inches or so? It's pretty high off of the ground, and I believe this is just high enough to keep the rabbits out. Now, what I like about this is that it comes in 4 sections where you can put together how many ever pieces you want, and you can put it at any shape that you want. And for this bed right here, my beans, my dragontum beans, were right in the front here. And right behind me here, that was the nest. That's where the rabbits were hanging out. And they're not there now, but I know they're somewhere around here. But that's where they were hanging out. And at first, these beans weren't touched at all. So I'm like, hey, so the metal raised bed makes a difference. Well, it did until that bunny got big enough, that baby bunny. Once the baby bunny got big enough, it nibbled on the front side. And then when it got a little bigger, it nibbled on the back side. So I believe by putting this fencing up, it'll be just tall enough to keep the bunny out of there. And there's enough stems left, and I'm hoping these beans can recover. But you can see that I have the fencing going all the way around. I've put multiple panels together to have it go all the way around this space. So this was solution number 1. And then, but this is for a metal raised bed. The metal beds are higher than my wooden raised beds. So I had to think about something a little different in that space. So let me show you how I'm going to protect my pole beans over in my main garden. So I am now over in my main garden. I was over at the neighbors. Now I'm back in my main garden, and I am in my trellised area. And so on my trellising, I was supposed to have pole beans coming up both sides, meeting in the middle. I grew pole beans here last year. They did really well, and I wanted to do it again. So, and I've been growing pole beans now for about 3 years, and I've never had any issues. So I planted them here. They came up. They got eaten down. I thought it was more the pill bugs, or those, some people call them roly-poly-oly bugs, but the pill bugs, I thought that's what was eating it down until I realized that I had a rabbit. And so I planted some more. They got eaten down again. Realized we had this rabbit, and I stopped planting because I was wasting my time. But I've already reseeded. And you see this fencing here? You see that? Behind that fencing, or should I say in between that black fencing, is where the pole beans are. So this is a different type fencing. I believe it's 16 inches tall, which is a little taller than the other little panels. And it's, I don't know, it might be 16 inches wide. I don't know, but here's the product right here from Amazon that I purchased. And they come in little boxes. And I just took those little pieces that was holding it together into a little square box. I took one panel out, or the links out of one side, and I opened it up. And I only needed it to be about 3 panels long. So on the back side, I have 3 panels going straight across the back against the cattle panel trellising. And then in the front, I did the same thing. And in between, I have pole beans growing. You know, you got to do what you got to do to try to protect your garden. And luckily, I grew more than a year's supply of beans last year, so I don't really need a full year's supply. But y'all, I do want some beans. So let me show you what I did on the other side. I did a little different method because I was being lazy, and I didn't want to separate the little links. And so I left them whole. But with the links, you can make many different shapes. Let me show you. It may be difficult to see here, but I left the little box together, and I just made them into these little narrow diamond shapes. And it's going to be very difficult to see, but they're 2 very narrow diamond shapes. So it's really just the squares that I just kind of reshaped. And in between those over there, in between them, I still have the pole beans growing. Well, at least hopefully they will grow back. And I added some new seeds to that space as well. Now, my hope is I can get these pole beans going because that's really the biggest supply of like traditional green beans that I have growing. But I am going to plant that bed that had the shelling peas in it. We're going to replant that bed with, I think, 3 different types of beans over there. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to use these larger type fencing to give me the protection I need over there, because those wooden raised beds are a lot shorter than the metal ones. And so I'm going to show you as I'm setting that one up. So let's go and let's plant some beans, y'all. So I'm back at the neighbor's, and here's that taller box shape that I was talking about. You see how you can make it into, you know, diamonds or square, whatever shape you need it in. And so the set that I'm going to put in over here, I'm not going to take it apart. I am going to set all 4 boxes just like this in this bed here, all 4 boxes, and we're going to plant the beans inside these boxes. And I think the height of this is just tall enough to keep the rabbits out. The squirrels could care less about this. The squirrels only want my tomatoes. So I don't worry about squirrels on this one. This is strictly for rabbits. And so I have 4 boxes here. I'm going to set the boxes up where we want them to be. It's going to be that simple, y'all. At least it should be. Now, am I going to lose some space in between? I am. So I could open all of these up and make one huge bed. But y'all, I'm too lazy. And I don't want to. So I'm leaving the boxes just like this. And we're going to plant inside the boxes. And that's just going to have to be good enough for now. Okay. I had a moment. I was being lazy. But I'm going to go ahead and do this the right way. I'm going to open these up the way I should open them up. It's just going to be so much work. But I'm going to do it. Now, this setup like this would be perfect for broccoli if I had any broccoli left over here, which I don't. So this would work for broccoli. For beans, honestly, I probably should put the fence all the way around. All right. To open this up, I'm going to stop being lazy. I'm going to do it right. To open it up, I just took a pair of needle nose pliers, and on one side, I just take the little pieces and I open it up. And I'm going to need to do this on all 4 of these, I believe. I don't think 3 is going to work, but we'll see. We'll see what we end up with. I just wanted to be able to show you that there's a couple different ways that you can use this fencing, you know, by opening it up or leaving it together that's in the box that it already comes in. Now, I really like the other solution over there because they already come in panels and you can choose how many ever panels that you want. But there's so many different kinds out there. I mean, if you go to Amazon, there's 5,000 different options. So these were the 2 options I went with. I'm sure there are other ones out there that work just as well, if not better. Come on off. Here we go. So see, that wasn't too bad to open it up, right? So then I'm going to open it up. I'm going to stop being lazy, like I said, open it up. And it goes all the way across to that side there. So I can open all of these up and I can box this in completely, and then I don't have to worry about any rabbits getting inside. So that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to take the shortcut out. I'm going to stop being lazy. I'm going to do it right so I don't have to do it again. Shortcuts don't always work. I was being lazy, and this doesn't take long at all. There's no reason to be lazy. Let's just do it right. All right, I got each of the pieces opened all the way up, and I'm actually going to cover this back side as well, just because it's so low the rabbits could jump in from the back side. So We're going to close the back side up. Right now, we're just trying to see how it's going to look because I still need to plant the beans first. Once I get the beans planted, we'll be good to go. Looks like I only needed about 3, but we got what we got. There we go. And now we don't have to worry about that pesky rabbit. Now, I am not going to put this up just yet because I still need to plant. But you see, it's going to be a nice box, just high enough, I think, to keep that rabbit out. So let's take this front one down and let's get these beans planted again. I'm going to go ahead and stabilize it by putting a few stakes in here to hold it in so it doesn't move. Got one on this corner, let's put one on that corner over there. And now let's plant. I'm going to now put fertilizer down. And now I've already fertilized this bed the first time, but who knows what's going on in this bed anymore. So we're going to put some more down. Gonna mix this fertilizer in. Drip irrigation is already in here. If you're interested in drip irrigation, I have a video out there for drip irrigation as well. It's actually super easy to do. So I am going to plant some Blue Lake bush beans, top-notch golden wax, some Landreth green beans as well. And that's what we're going to put in this bed. And hopefully we will have some beans. I space my beans about every 3 or 4 inches apart. Roughly on the square foot gardening method, roughly. And I do mean roughly because I don't have the little gadget to do the measuring, so I just eyeball it. This is the Blue Lake. I got 2 rows. That's all I got out of that one. And that's okay. Got 2 rows of that. I'm gonna move over to something else. Let's do some yellow wax beans next. That way when they come in, I'll remember what's what. Otherwise, I'm not gonna have any clue what I put in this bed. So we'll get the beans in and I'll bring you back and show you how I finish this fencing off. All right, the beans are in. I added some fresh potting soil to the top of this because this bed was a little low. It could use a little bit, so we did. And now I'm going to put the last side of this fencing up. That's going to give us the protection we need from the pesky rabbits. It looks like I have about 3 sides too many, but that's okay. I'll just double it up, triple it up, whatever we need to do. There we go. I got some fabric staples, landscaping staples, whatever you call them. Nice and stable. How do you think we did? You think this is going to keep that rabbit out? Well, we're going to try. Hopefully, it doesn't think to try to jump up above this. And I will just keep you up to date on how that rabbit's doing. So I've showed you a couple different methods. I mean, there's some cheaper methods out there. Just getting some chicken wire and folding it over wherever your plants are. There's some beautiful like cone-looking crowns that you can put over your plants. But I wanted something that was going to give me more flexibility in the different types of crops, the way I'm laying those crops out in my bed. And so I wanted something a little more versatile and a little more flexible. And I wanted something that's going to last over a period of time. And of course, I needed it to be nice and clean from a design standpoint because I like stuff to be pretty. So 2 different methods. We've replanted our beans again, and hopefully we will have a bean harvest this year. I like to keep it coming. I like to keep it real, and we like to try whatever we need to do to keep those critters out the garden. So that's it from here. That's all for now from Kim's Kozy Korner, and we're going to get on to some other projects like harvesting some vegetables and other things like that. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you soon. Bye.